After the last episode of The Ultimate Fighter, and after watching Cody quit because he couldn't make weight, I was tempted to make a video about how he was mentally weak, how he should have pushed himself harder, how he shouldn't have quit. But I didn't do that shit because I'm not qualified to tell another man to man up unless I deeply understand what he's going through. And with something like weight cutting, no amount of education or understanding of biology, psychology, and how the human body and mind works can truly get you to deeply understand what goes on in the mind of a fighter who is cutting weight. The only way you can truly understand something like that is when you go through it yourself. And that's what I did. Now, I was supposed to put this video out yesterday, but I took the extra day to experience what it feels like to cut weight. And that's exactly what I did. Now, I have a friend who wrestles in high school. He's a really phenomenal wrestler, and he cuts weight all the time. And I told him about what I wanted to do, and he set it up. So yesterday, before I did it, I was weighed in around 165. And if I was an MMA fighter, I'd be a lightweight, because I'm usually around 165 pounds or below. I'm never above that. So my friends told me that if I start cutting weight early, cut down to 155 pounds, it won't be difficult for me at all. But since I've never cut weight before, he suggested that I should just cut 5 pounds and see how that feels. And that's what I did. But man, oh man, oh man. Let me tell you guys, if you ever see a fighter cutting weight, respect them. Because cutting weight has to be the most horrible thing you could ever experience. It's a fucking nightmare. Now, the whole idea of cutting weight is basically to lose weight as fast as possible. So most fighters use dehydration to lose weight. And what that basically means is you're taking out more fluid than you're taking in. And because the human body is usually 65% water, when you can take out as much water as possible without taking in water, you lose weight. But that shit sucks. And the way that I look at it is, I compare it to a flower that you have refused to water. The less you water it, it looks dried up, weak, sad. Basically, it's dying. You ever watch those vampire movies where the vampire can't find blood and it's so weak it can barely move? It's like slowly dying. That's exactly how weight cutting feels. It feels like dying. It literally feels like you are gonna die if you don't get some water inside of you right now. And that right there could be a form of torture. You hate someone? Want to have them die a slow, painful death? Have them cut weight until they die. That will be the most painful kind of death you'd ever experience. Actually, a Brazilian fighter, Leandro Souza, just recently died from cutting weight. So this shit is very serious. This is not the kind of stuff you tell someone to man up. Like, man up and do it, man up and do it. Fuck that. Fuck that, I'd rather work at McDonald's. I ain't dying for the UFC. So I was gonna initially say, man, Cody should have pushed himself. He should have pushed himself harder. You know, he's got a wife, he's got a daughter. He should have pushed himself harder. He should have tried to do this stuff. But after going through it myself, after actually cutting weight and feeling like total shit, and I was just cutting 5 pounds. I wasn't even cutting a lot of weight. I totally understand why the guy quit. I actually feel bad for the guy. I feel bad for him because now I know how fucked up weight cutting is. The dude probably felt like he was gonna die in there. And Uncle Dana came in there like a drama queen, bitching and nagging, and I'm just like, what the fuck, you know? But I will say this though. Fighters just need to be smarter with it. Eat right. If you know you're gonna be cutting weight, then you have to eat right. Cody made some really bad decisions in the house. He was eating when he shouldn't have, so it was partly his fault. But I still feel bad for the guy. I'm not trying to say that it wasn't his fault at all. A part of it was his fault. Because when he shouldn't have been eating, he was eating. And when it got time to cut the weight, it became extremely difficult. So a part of it was his fault. But it doesn't change the fact that I still feel bad for the guy. I really do. And I hope he makes better decisions about his weight cutting in the future. The whole thing sucks because he was such a good fighter. He was everyone's #1 pick. He was one of the guys that I felt would actually win the whole thing. And for him to quit like that just says a lot about how difficult cutting weight is. And if you think I'm fucking around when I say that weight cutting is fucked up, try it for yourself. I honestly feel like every MMA fan should try that shit at least once, just to see how fucked up it is. It is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. Now, my friend told me that sometimes, it's really easy. Sometimes you can have a really easy cut. When you're smart about it, when you start dieting on time and everything, you can have a really easy cut. But most of the time, that shit sucks monkey balls. You know what I'm saying? It sucks. But I hope Cody is okay. He's a good fighter. He's a really good fighter. There's no doubt about it. So I expect to see him in the UFC someday. He's just gotta fix a few things. He's got to be more serious, be more dedicated, just a little bit more dedicated, a little bit more intelligent with his weight cutting, and he should be okay. And if fighting at that weight, if making that weight is too difficult for him, he should consider fighting at 145. Because I actually think he initially was fighting at 145. If fighting at 135 is too much for him, he should probably stick with 145. That's just my opinion with it. But again, I hope he's okay. He's a good fighter. I expect to see him in the UFC someday. But apart from that, let me know what you guys think about the whole weight cutting issue. Do you think that Cody was being a bitch by quitting? Do you think he should have pushed harder? What do you think? Is there anyone else out there that has actually experienced weight cutting? If you have, I want to know what you think about it. Do you think it's as fucked up as I think it is? But apart from that, I'll see you guys in 2 days. Be safe.